Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is episode 1 of me modifying my newly acquired Lister locomotive. Now this has just had a weekend away down in the south of Wales with Pete, who you see here in the video. He runs a portable miniature railway called Little British Rail. I will stick a link down in the description. Now Pete's recently emigrated across from Australia to come and work at the Steam Workshop, and on a weekend he likes to play trains. So we fancied the industrial style of a Lister. This one popped up for sale. I bought it. Pete took it away. He ran it for a couple of days. Well, he ran it for a day. Downside to this locomotive is it lacks tractive effort. It's got a really good top speed on its own. It is great fun, but as soon as you start hooking weight on it, it can't pull it. So that needs to be addressed. We're gonna play around with the gearing and improve its tractive effort, hopefully to make it a really functional locomotive. You run it at a railway, you want to pull at least 2 full carriages of passengers, and yeah, this couldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding. God, I love that saying. And there's a few other small modifications I want to make to it. Want to do away with the battery and the coil pack off it that runs the ignition. Want to go back to the Magneto based ignition. Want to make a few modifications to the aesthetics of it as well. I think I have an eye that I like what I like. So yeah, if you see my Scamp, I sometimes like bonkers, but I want to make this personal. I want to make it mine. I want to make it stand out from other engines out there. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy this video. It's going to be a small series, and hopefully this will be back on track soon. Thank you very much for watching.
Okay, so this engine is currently running a coil and battery. This will be going, and I'm going to pull the magneto and figure out what's going on there. So I need to pull that. The spark plug wire is absolutely trashed, so yeah, that's completely perished. Can actually get to bare wire there, so that's going in the bin. That's going to go in the bin because all the wax has pooped itself out of it, and I need to pull that bracket off, pull this cover off to be able to get to the chain that's behind here that runs the magneto. Going to pull the magneto. I'm just going to figure out what spanners I need. Excuse me. And then get to it. Right, spanners. Okay, so the plan is pull this. Now, the nut on the end of the spark plug is not even tight, which is highly useful. I will have to get another spark plug as well. So that's on the to-do list. This tap's on the to-do list. But for now, let's pull this coil pack off. Okay, slight change of plan. Let's just disconnect this gear. Oh, good God, you can't even get that bolt out. So that end plate comes off to take that off. Might do it that way next time. Here, so it's just a starter shaft going through there. Yeah, so I'll take that off and bolt it on next time so I can use 3 bolts. Just pop that in my bucket for now. Okay, so that's that. Let's put that for storage and pull the spark plug out. Ugh. Very sooty. I would guess that spark plug is older than me. Not saying I'm old, but that is definitely seen better days. I'm also going to pull this water valve off because it leaks. And nobody likes a leaky water valve. So we'll pull that. I'll either relap the carrot on that or I'll replace it. Possibly look at getting some pipe work so if any leak does happen, it vents to the floor, not all over the running board here, because you can see it's killing the paint. It's underneath the plate work, so it needs to get looked at. I'm just going to put this back in place so that's not banging around anywhere. So let's take that inside and have a look at it.
Right, so this is the first time I've ever touched a Magneto. I did not know what I was doing. I've had a look at a few YouTube videos, so I've got a rough idea of how to take this thing apart. And then I can hopefully diagnose what is not working on this particular Magneto. Now, first things first, as soon as I took the top cover off, it was evident it was missing its coil pack off the top. There's normally it's basically a piece of steel with a load of copper wire right around it, and it's a big lump that sits in the top of this Magneto, and then you got a spinning magnet which causes a pulse and sends power to the spark plug to fire a spark to ignite the fuel in the engine. I might go in maybe a little bit more in depth into how this engine actually works in a later video. I have bought a book on listers and how to run them, so I shall cover that in another episode. But I have figured out already what I'm going to do, and that will feature in a video all of its own. Hopefully, I can get this engine working off of a Magneto, and lesson learned here.
Okay, something else I want to do is I want to pull this guard off. Because I want to have a look at the gearing. Because it's running. It runs super fast, but doesn't have a great deal of capability of weight. So it can whiz around on its own, and from Pete's report, it will go super fast, but it couldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding. So I want to have a look at the gearing, figure out what size sprockets I'm running, get a selection of different size sprockets to hopefully make this thing a little bit more capable of pulling weight. Let's get that guard off. Oh, good God. Tiny gear, quite a tiny gear. So that needs to go bigger. Right, so I'm going to pull this 90-degree gearbox. I should have definitely brought my socket set out. But let's go old school and hand tool a lot of it. Right, so that's 90-degree gearbox off, made in Japan, nice. So here we go. Let's see if we can pull this bearing. I say bearing, I mean pulley. Okay, so that is out. So I desperately want to bring this seat height down because the combination of the seat height and the roof height makes it a very top heavy vehicle. So I want to bring this down as much as I can and still be comfortable. Because up here, I'm about 18 inches, which is a standard seat. And I reckon I could come down a couple of inches on that. So without chopping it, I don't really know where's comfortable. The seat is not quite central over the frames, and the brake hand wheel is behind. I might try and relocate that to the centre. So yeah, I think it's time to pop the seat off, pop the floor off, find out how the brake's attached. But yeah, I've actually bought a replacement for that seat because this is just a cheap and cheerful pressed metal one with a bit of a crude bracket underneath it. I reckon if I take at least 2 inches off, so if I come down maybe 15 inches, take 2 to 3 inches off that. I'll do a little bit and test and adjust. But just losing this will make a difference. I've got to make a way of mounting the new seat, but that's for another day. But for now, I think I'm going to pull the whole floor off so I can get that off. I'm going to have to notch that anyway to put a bigger pulley on this end. I'm going to pull the brakes off and try and see if I can move the brakes internal. No, inboard, sorry. Yeah, I can put that wherever I want. So that's useful. I'll shift that over here. I might try and make... Yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah. Just gonna get a power tool for this one. Just want to pull all these bolts. Right, so let's pull this. So that is ready for the chop. I'm going to leave these plates in for another day. I do need modifying. Can leave that for another day. Leave that for another day. Right, that should do us for now. Plenty else to be getting on with. Yes, right, tidy up.
Okay, so to achieve the mission of creating more tractive effort on this locomotive, I will be swapping out these gears. This is a 90-degree gearbox. It's just transferring the direction of drive, but it's giving me 2 gears here, which is going to enable me to create gear reduction, which will hopefully improve its tractive effort. So pulling these sprockets off, it enables me to measure the shaft diameters, measure the keyway diameters. Now, all these sprockets previously weren't keyed on; they were just held on with grub screws, and there is signs on pretty much all the axles that the grub screws have been slipping. So keyways really important in this situation. So they will be going on to the new ones when I come to replace them. But I've got the option here to change 3 gears without taking the axles out. So the wheel sets out. So I'm tackling this first, and hopefully this will gain some drastic improvements, because yeah, at the moment it just runs far too fast, and it, as I've said before, it can't pull the skin off a rice pudding. So first thing first is change out the gearing and hopefully really improve the ability of this locomotive so it can work a miniature railway and pull passengers, which is all the key. But yeah, everything here is off the shelf stuff. Should be good. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.